This is Tomb Raider. It's 25 years old this year, and it's showing a little bit of age. The controls feel off, the enemy AI runs around in circles, and the camera feels like Lara Croft is carrying around a small, distracted child in her backpack. No, not now, Timmy, I'm fighting the demons! You have to cut it some slack, of course, because Tomb Raider is special. It was one of the first 3D games that really made use of the Y-axis, and it wasn't just a shooter. There was a lot in this game, puzzles and exploration as well as combat. This was truly the wild, wild west. I don't actually think they knew what they were doing. It doesn't feel like a conventional game. It throws stuff at you just because it can. Like, you spend the first half of the first part of the game just chilling in caves fighting wolves, and then all of a sudden in the distance, clump, 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 clump. It's weird, and it's very interesting to play today with the context of modern 3D games. But from playing it this year, I think there's one thing that stood out to me. It's what you're looking at right now, the environments. What makes Tomb Raider's environments so interesting? Well, to talk about that, we have to talk about graphics in video games. When we talk about graphics in video games, we usually talk about two things: the fidelity and the art direction. Fidelity is about how technically impressive the game looks, your 16 times anti-triceratops aliasing and what have you, and honestly, I don't care, you don't care, nobody really cares about this, because good fidelity is nothing compared to good art direction. Don't get me wrong, I'm not about to list off my 6 favourite indie darlings here. Big budget games still need to do this. A big series like Assassin's Creed still has strong art direction. It's taken a lot of time and money to research exactly what this longhouse in Assassin's Creed Valhalla should look like. But indie games usually excel at this kind of thing by virtue of not having the big budget of big studios. This is where you will find the most creative art directions. The 1-bit look of the Return of the Obra Dinn, the low poly 2-colour chaos of Superhot, and my favourite, the London Underground map-like aesthetic of Mini Metro. These are all games where the art direction has been channeled from the direction of the game as a whole. Okay, this is all very cool and interesting and not boring in any way, but how does it relate to Tomb Raider's environments? To uncover that link, we'll have to talk about video game environments.
What do you think of this view, huh? It's pretty nice.
Video game environments. By now we have more or less sussed the whole thing out. I can play The Last of Us Part 2 and walk into a store and be pretty convinced that I am indeed in a store. There's so much detail here that I could tell you what products this store actually sells. 25 years ago, developers weren't so lucky. In the same way that indie games are restricted by budget, Tomb Raider was restricted by technology. A lot of the time, the environments were dictated by the level design, the blocky walls given flair by the game's setting. You can see this in the abandoned Mars base of Doom, or the abandoned Mars base of Doom 2, or the abandoned Mars base. This is fine because not a lot of us are familiar with shooting demons on Mars. Our brain knows it's not real. This right here gives us the missing piece of the puzzle. Tomb Raider has these low poly environments heavily influenced by the level design, and yet it's set in the real world, or at least a version of our world with horses that have cannons for arms. These environments are chock full of winding corridors and impossibly high platforms. It's built on this grid system, which means platforms that have been placed from jumping distance of one another stand out quite a bit. Each level usually has some kind of huge environmental set piece, and this is where you might be convinced that you're inhabiting a real location, but then it branches out into lots of different rooms, and oh, what's this? Oh yeah, right, it's the flamey jumpy room. This is really cool, and I think we should try and do more stupid stuff like this in video games. Tomb Raider seems to have a very personal, almost comedic relationship with the player, like the game is messing with you. The environment changes in odd ways, items are placed in front of traps, and boulders are often found in very compromising positions indeed. Look at this part where you have to open a door, so you find the key, open the door, and what's on the other side? That's right, another door that you need another key for. This is genuinely hilarious level design. Like, imagine the Atlanteans actually coming up with this. Hey, so we need some more security for the tomb place thing. Okay, I've got it. Don't worry. I've got a good idea. We put a door there, and then we have a key, and then we hide the key somewhere. I don't know. I feel like we're really missing something here. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. Hang on, this game has a lot of layers to uncover with its level design and environments, but we still have one more layer of sediment to dig up on this archaeological expedition. Get it? Because Lara Croft's a... Yeah. Tomb Raider has you on a race around the globe, visiting cool exotic locations such as Greece and Egypt and Surrey. These are all tangible, real places that you can go and see, but then in the last 2 levels of the game, core design pulled the rug out from underneath you and dragged you into the depths, into Atlantis. Atlas Mines is not an exciting level. It's a slow start as you run around reclaiming your stolen weaponry and dispensing with the rogues gallery of Natla's henchmen, one of whom you fight in a skate park, and it's not an anniversary, and I need to know why. Visually, it's kind of bland and unappealing, especially after the treat to the eyes that was the Egypt levels. But you see, this level is a distraction, a dip in the pacing curve. It's not really meant to stand out on its own, it's meant to be a build-up. As you fight your way to the depths of the mines, you find the entrance. Stepping into the next level, this is what you're greeted with. Okay, this is full-on horror. This is terrifying. Look how smooth these hatching pods are. Can you imagine taking a step anywhere at all in this level? I'm a fully grown adult man now, but I think I spent about 5 minutes in this room at the start just figuring out what on earth is going on. Look at these doors, look at these walls, they're made of flesh. The game has conditioned you that it's trying its best at making environments analogous to real life, and then it tricks you, it stabs you in the back and throws whatever this is at you. It's a couple of hours of just absolutely absurd level design and environment design, and it's easily the best part of the game. We all know about this bacony abomination, Lara's doppelganger. It shows up and copies everything that you do, and there's no recorded explanation inside or even outside of the game that tells you what on earth this is. This is why this part of the game works so well. It explains nothing, it shows you very little and tells you even less. Peru, Greece and Egypt are all tangible locations. I can look at them and go, okay, yeah, a bit weird that a tomb is located underneath this building and the only way of getting to it is through this narrow pipe and through here, past the crocodiles, yep, okay, here it is. But it still feels kinda legit. Atlantis, it's like it's on another planet entirely. Who knows what unknown terrors await? And thanks to the low-poly abstract environments, your mind fills in the blanks. The last piece of Tomb Raider's absolutely absurd level design is the use of the player's imagination. It's like the whole thing with the fog in Silent Hill 2. Your brain is going to do a much better job at conjuring up monsters than the developer actually showing the terror that lies within. It reveals just enough, a small taste of what is going on. So yeah, I feel like all of this was the developers making clever use of circumstance, make 3D environments that are clearly dictated by the level design and the technological limitations, but also make them seem real by including real-life locations and things that we're used to, then flip the script towards the end by sending your players into hell and rely on the player's imagination to fill in the gaps left by the lack of detail. I'd love to see an indie developer try and do something like this, make a classic Tomb Raider style game complete with the table flip at the end, or maybe it's time for Square Enix to learn from Sega and release a Sonic Mania style homage? maybe one day I'll get to enter a completely new world with incomprehensible, breathtaking, and terrifying environments. Okay, we're done again. So I've got some very good news. If you're a fan of me doing this at the end where I try and get you to visit my site, there's a new version. It looks very cool. It's got a nice homepage. Do you know what that is? It's videogamesabout.co.uk. There's lots of cool things there. You can see lots of cool. There's dark mode as well. So if you visit it at 3 a.m., you no longer see God. There is also hopefully a post on Tomb Raider 2 and why it's the best one. Because it's Tomb Raider 2 month in the Tomb Raider anniversary 25 years celebrations. You know what? I actually forgot to thank you for watching this video, because I'm thinking, man, what have I got left to do? That's it. Usually I shield the website at the end. So thank you for watching. Goodbye.